During this lesson, we are going to work on addition and subtraction of common fractions. Worksheet 1. Write down the lowest common multiple, or the LCM, of 2 and 4. We know it is 4. Let's do E together. 4 and 12. The lowest common multiple is 12. Lastly, if we look at 9 and 18, the lowest common multiple is 18. Press pause to complete question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Calculate the following. Remember, we can only add fractions with the same denominators. Also, always leave each answer in the simplest form. For A, we have a half plus a quarter. The lowest common denominator of 2 and 4 is 4. Therefore, a half we rewrite as 2 quarters. We times top and bottom by 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 2 is 2. Then we add the quarter, and our final answer is 3 quarters. Get out your pen, and let's do B together. We have a half and an eighth. The lowest common denominator is 8. Therefore, we're going to write a half is something over 8. We times 2 by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Plus 1/8 is equal to 5/8. Press pause to complete questions C and D by yourself. Press play when you are ready for question E. Question E. We have a quarter plus 12ths. The lowest common denominator is 12. So we rewrite a quarter as 3/12 because 4 times 3 is 12 and 1 times 3 is 3. Then we add up and we get 8/12, which we simplify by dividing top and bottom by 4. And our final answer in its simplest form is 2/3. Press pause to complete the rest of the question by yourself. Question 3. We have 2/3 plus 1/6. The lowest common denominator is 6. 2/3, we times top and bottom by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we add up to get 5/6. Let's do question C together. Get out your pens and write with me. The lowest common denominator is 9. Now 3 times 3 is 9. Therefore, 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1/9 is 7/9. Press pause to complete the rest of question 3 by yourself. When you are done, use the memo to mark all your answers on this page. Question 4. We have thirds and ninths. The lowest common denominator is 9. For 2/3, 3 times 3 is 9. So we times the top by 3 as well, and 2 times 3 is 6. Then we add up to get 13/9. Now this is an improper fraction, so 9 fits into 13 once exactly, with a remainder of 4/9. Press pause to complete the rest of question 4 by yourself. Question 5. Now we have 1 and 2/3 plus a 1/6. So for our fraction parts, our lowest common denominator is 6. So we keep the run 1. 2/3, we times top and bottom by 2 to get 4/6, plus 1/6, and our answer is 1 5/6. Let's do C together. We have thirds and ninths. The LCD is 9. So we have 1. We've times the bottom by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 and 1/9. Then we add up our whole numbers and our fraction parts separately. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then we have 7/9. Press pause to complete the rest of question 5 by yourself. Question 6. We have, in the fraction parts, we have thirds and ninths. Our LCD is 9. Therefore, for this mixed number, we write it as 1 and 6/9. We've times top and bottom by 3. Then we write this down. Then 1 plus 1 is 2. We add our ninths and we get 13/9. Now 13/9 is equal to 1 and 4/9. Therefore, our final answer is 2 plus 1, which is 3 and 4/9. Get out your pens and let's do C together. Our lowest common denominator is 12, so we have 2. We've times 6 by 2, so 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 and 7/12. Then we have 3 wholes and 17/12 to give us a final answer of 4 wholes and 5/12, because 17/12 is equal to 1 and 5/12. Press pause to complete the rest of question 6 by yourself. Question 7. Write down the LCM, the lowest common multiple, of 2, 4, and 8. The answer is 8. Press pause to complete the rest of question 7 by yourself. Question 8. If we look at our denominators, our LCD is 8. So for a half, we times the bottom by 4 and the top by 4. For a quarter, we times the bottom by 2 and the top by 2. And we leave the last eighth. We add up to get 7/8. Press pause to complete the rest of question 8. Take note that question C is quite a challenge. When you are done with the whole page, use the memo to mark all your answers. Worksheet 2, Subtraction. We have 2/3 minus 1/6. Our LCD is 6. So we rewrite 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. We minus to get 3/6, which in simplest form is a half. Get out your pens and let's do D together. We have 4 and 20, so our lowest common denominator is 20. We times by 5, so 3 times 5 is 15. Then we minus to get 8/20, which, if we divide top and bottom by 4, our final answer is 2/5. Press pause to complete the rest of question 1 by yourself. Question 2. We have 2 1/2 minus 1 1/4. Our LCD is a quarter. So we have 2, we times by 2, we times by 2, minus 1 1/4. Then we minus our whole number and our fraction parts separately. 2 minus 1 is 1, and 2/4 minus 1/4 is a quarter. We could use this method because 1/2 is bigger than a quarter. Press pause to complete question B and C by yourself. Question 3. Write each mixed number as an improper fraction. Let's do this one together. 2 times 3 gives me 6/3, plus the 1/3 is 7/3. Let's look at C. 2 times 8 will give me 16/8, plus another 5/8 is 21/8. Press pause to complete question 3. Question 4. Complete by first writing the mixed numbers as improper fractions. Let's look at this sum. First, I'm going to do it like the way we did it before. We have 2 1/4 minus 1 1/2, and 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Now, 2 minus 1 is 1, but 1/4 take away 2/4 we can't do, because 1/4 is less than 2/4. Therefore, we run into a problem. That is why we are rather going to rewrite both mixed numbers as improper fractions. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9/4, minus, we rewrite that as 3/2. Then, very important, we have quarters and halves, so the LCD is 4. We leave our quarters. Then for this, we've times the bottom by 2, so we times the top by 2. Now, we minus our improper fractions, and we are left with 3/4. Let's do question B together. Get out your pens to do so. We're going to rewrite both as improper fractions. So the first answer is 17/8 minus 7/4. Now we have 8s and quarters. The LCD is 8. So we leave that one. Over here we times the bottom by 2. So we times the top by 2. And once we have minused, our final answer is 3/8. Press pause to complete the rest of this question by yourself. Take note that D is a challenge. When you are done, use the memo to mark all your answers on this page. Worksheet 3. Write down the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. The answer is 6. For B, the LCM of 3 and 4 is 12. Lastly, for E, of 4 and 5, the lowest common multiple is 20. Press pause to complete the rest of question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Calculate the following. If I have a half plus a third, remember we can only add fractions with the same denominator. Therefore, the lowest common denominator is 6. We've times by 3, so we times by 3. For the next one, we times by 2, so we times by 2, and we add up to get 5/6. Let's look at C and complete together. Our LCD of 3 and 5 is 15. Then I times by 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. Here I times by 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. Then I add up to get 13/15. Press pause to complete question 2 by yourself. Question 3. I've got 1/2 plus 2/3. My LCD is 6. So I rewrite this as 1 3/6. 2/3, I times by 2, I times by 2. Then I add up to get 1 7/6. And remember, 7/6 is equal to 1 1/6 as a mixed number. Therefore, my final answer is 2 1/6. Let's complete question D together. For 4ths and 6ths, my LCD is 12. I times by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. For 6, I times by 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. Then we add up 1 19/12, which is equal to 2 7/12. Press pause to complete the rest of question 3 by yourself. Question 4. We have a subtraction sum. When we have a subtraction sum, I recommend that you always first change both mixed numbers into improper fractions. So, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9/4. 1 1/5 is equal to 6/5. Then we have quarters and fifths. Our LCD is 20. Over here, I times by 5. 9 times 5 is 45. Over here, I have times by 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Then I do my subtraction sum to get 21/20, which as a mixed number is 1 1/20. Use what you have learned to complete the rest of question 4 by yourself.